Have you ever been drawn into a conversation when before you know it, you find yourself stuck smack dab in the middle of someone else's mess? Today we're talking about don't be suckered by the smokescreen, stay focused. My name is Jennifer Mitchell Early. I help individuals and teams achieve organizational and personal success. And this is Leadership Matters. There have been countless times in my career where I have found myself embroiled in someone else's or some small faction's mess, otherwise known as a smokescreen. Over the years, I had to learn that it wasn't necessary for me to contribute to or participate in every conversation, even those that directly impacted or involved me. Let me give you an example. Even right now, at this very moment that I am taping this video, I am a subject in a complex and comprehensive situation that has evolved over time. And even though I know what's fueling the fire now, or providing the smoke, if you will, is nothing but erroneous and reprehensible information, I have chosen still not to participate. I won't be a part of these diversionary tactics. And even though the situation that is even now snowballing has the ability to be destructive, if you will, I have decided not to be distracted by it, but instead to stay the course and stay focused on the job at hand. Okay, let's level set. What is a smokescreen, you might ask? We've all probably heard the term smoke and mirrors and other idioms like that. But for today's purposes, let's just go ahead and review the definition. A smokescreen is defined by Oxford Dictionary as a cloud of smoke created to conceal military operations. A ruse designed to disguise someone's real intentions or activities. He tried to create a smokescreen by quibbling about the statistics. So as you can see, a smokescreen is nothing more than a distraction that hinders and obstructs movement and vision. Psychology today describes a distraction as the process of interrupting attention and a stimulus or task that draws attention away from the task of primary interest. In other words, distractions draw us away from what we want to do, whether it's to accomplish a task or work, enjoy time with a loved one, or do something for ourselves. Whatever it is that we're intending to do, the distraction pulls our attention away from that. And therefore, and as a result, focuses our attention on something that was less important, that was never a priority. The true danger of a smokescreen is that it's designed to obstruct your vision. The entire purpose of a smokescreen is so that you will not be able to see. Let's talk about that for a moment. So if you're not able to see, you won't be able to identify what's really going on. You'll have difficulty ascertaining the facts. You won't be able to accurately perceive the impacts or consequences to you. You're unable to discern the complete picture. You're unable to decide between truth and error and right and wrong. The sense of sight is particularly important as it helps us to make out or make sense of our surroundings. And more importantly, it helps us to avoid danger. Our entire perception can be skewed or distorted by misinformation. As a result, we are unable to make informed decisions about what's true, what's not, what's right, what's wrong, and how we should move going forward as a result of it. it robs us of our ability to make informed decisions. When we focus on the smoke screen, we're unable to determine right from wrong. We're unable to make informed decisions. We're unable to really apply the facts to the situation so that we know that we have a clear understanding. The smoke screen robs you of your ability to navigate forward in situations that are purposely made ambiguous and unclear so that you will believe the illusion, hence the mirror, smoke and mirrors, that you'll believe whatever illusion has been created to help you not to be able to make those assessments and judgments and evaluations. So today we're talking about how to, don't be suckered by the smoke screen, how to see through the smoke. No, first how to identify that it's the smoke screen, how to see through the smoke, and then how to not get caught up in it, not get caught up in the illusion of it all. So the first way that you identify a smoke screen is through just the nature of a smoke screen. Smoke screens are designed as a diversionary tactic, which means that they create chaos. It's confusing. It's supposed to be like a wow factor, like what's going on there, so that you can spend all of your attention in that area and you don't pay attention to the fact that other things are being maneuvered behind the scenes or even in conjunction with the chaos, because you are now distracted and you won't pay as much attention to it. That's the first thing. So smoke screens they come with chaos and confusion. That's one of the descriptors. The second thing is, the way that you can understand a smoke screen is when you align everything, does it make sense? Meaning, do the actions correlate with the words or the speech or the talking points about it? So if they don't align, then they are incongruent and they contradict one another. And that's a second characteristic of a smoke screen, is the fact that people will be saying one thing and yet doing another. And remember, I always tell you all what my mother told me is that actions speak louder than words. So what is the actual behavior? What is the actual response? Not the talking points around it, not what's necessarily being said, but what have you seen being done? That leads us to our third point, which is don't believe the hype. So situations that are hyped up or, spun, you've heard about people spinning things, that's done to also now create the smoke screen. When there's a lot of talk about something and yet you still don't understand what's actually being said, that is spin. Spin is designed to get you passionate about something. You see it a lot in politics and what have you, in very sensitive subjects. People will spin them because they know once they get you emotionally involved, your emotions are going to take over your logical response. So you won't be as objective. We talked about being an objective thinker at one point as well. You won't be able to objectively analyze the data, the evidence, or the facts because you're so emotionally involved in whatever the subject is. So I'll give you an example. Here, we had a situation in my community that involved chickens. And the fact of the matter is, in this particular community, chickens are in fact illegal. The law has been on our books since 1982. We are in 2020. So it goes without saying that this is a, long-standing law on the books. Instead of speaking to the fact that not only are chickens illegal, but we don't have the infrastructure in this community to manage chickens, to make sure that that someone is, for lack of a better term, policing or enforcing any laws around the chicken to ensure even the chicken safety. For example, the size of the coop, where they range at, how they're cared for, all of those things that would ensure both the safety of the chickens as well as our residents and or the general public. The spin around the chickens were Oh my God, they're new residents. I can't believe that, you all would force them to get rid of the chickens. They're the children's pets, so they played. It was emotional. They were emotive responses. And when you get emotions involved and you talk about stripping a pet from a child, we all feel some kind of way. Our heart goes out to, children who will have to say goodbye to their pets, a family member. I've had multiple dogs. I've talked about my current dog, Bailey. I am an animal lover. I understand what it means to have a pet that is more than a pet and that is a family member. I definitely, feel for the family. However, as a representative, as a legislator in the municipality, as an elected official, I have to take everything into consideration. I have to take in consideration the fact that it's against the law. Just straight up, step one, if I look in our code, it is clearly and blatantly against the law. That's one. So I have to look at that. I have to look at impacts to other neighbors who, the reason why I found out about the chickens is I got multiple complaints from neighboring residents who the chickens have been free ranging and doing other things in their, on their property, on their porch, in their grass, on their lawns. Some people have animals. Some people, one person has a family member who is, has an allergy to fowl. So all of those things I have to consider. I have to consider the fact that we don't have infrastructure, the things that I talked to you about. All those considerations have to, when I objectively look at it, when I look at the facts, those are the things that I have to consider. And right now, we don't have it. We don't even have the resources to hire people for the infrastructure at this moment. And we're in the middle of a pandemic. So you have to be careful about the spin. You have to be careful about how people, take their messaging to purposely tap into your emotions to evoke a response in you that does not allow you to logically look at a situation from all sides. And the last identifier that I'll leave you with as it relates to being able to determine if something is a smokescreen is transparency. Smoke screens, remember, are diversionary tactics. They're distractions. They're designed to get your focus off of what really matters onto something else. And since the nature of a smoke screen is to keep your focus off of what you really should be focused on, you'll find that individuals will not be transparent. They won't be truthful. They won't be forthcoming. And again, this kind of ties into the spin as well, because what you'll find is some of the information will be distorted. You won't get all of the information. You'll get spliced pieces and parts of information that make it sound good to support their argument or their spin. You won't get it in its entirety. You won't get all of the facts surrounding what's going on. So you won't know that there's a law on the book. You'll be told that, it was something that was there, but they can still do it. No. And because you are emotional about it, or because you have a vested interest in it, or you are empathetic, all of those things, you won't even stop to be like, wait a minute, hold on, wait. So there's a law? What does the law exactly say? Can someone show me the law so that you can read it and understand it for yourself? So when there is no transparency, when people are talking in circles, when they're only giving you bits and pieces of information, and all that information is always framed from one vantage point, one perspective, and that's where they're trying to persuade you to buy into, that is a telltale sign that this might be some type of smokescreen. Okay, so we've talked about what a smokescreen is. We've talked about how to identify it. And then the next step is to how to cut through the smoke. How to cut through the chase and not be smack dab in the middle of somebody else's mess. So if we continue with the same example of chickens and someone is, telling you about it, then I think I would want to know, if I were you and cutting through the smoke, okay, so what's the actual issue? What is the law? What has been the responses from both sides, both the residents who are pro chickens like yourself and the ones that are not? And what is what are the legal issues and ramifications of said chickens. I can't make a decision or a determination. I can't even contribute to the conversation if I don't have all of the information. And that is a part, and really that's the crux of cutting through the smoke. A lot of times we find ourselves smack dab in the middle of conversations with people that we trust, that we've talked to, or that we're out raking our leaves or picking up twigs, and we stop and talk to our neighbor, or we're at work and a coworker stops over and she's like, hey, or he's like, what's going on with blah, blah, blah. And everybody seems well-intentioned, right? There's been many times, not just even as my role as an elected official, but even at work and on projects and in other places in my sorority, where I'm just like, you know what? This is nowhere like on my radar right now. I don't really know what happened, and I can't speak on it. That was something I said a lot when I came into my municipality. I don't know what happened in previous administrations. If it hasn't been documented, it's not something that I read. If it's not, some code that I reviewed or things of that nature, I don't know. And because I don't know, I won't speak on it. I'm not going to contribute to the chaos. I don't know what people's intentions or motivations are. I'm not sure. And quite frankly, I have so many other things going on, as we all do, that figuring out someone else's motivations or intentions that's the furthest thing from my mind. I have no time, I have no energy, and I have no interest in trying to figure out someone else's motivations. I'm doing everything I can to ensure that I'm moving in the right direction and I'm making the best choices that I can make for my family, for my community, for my clients, etc. I have no desire to even entertain something that is not going to be fruitful and it's not going to be beneficial in the long term. I'm going to look up and find myself smack dab in the middle of something, and somebody's going to be able to say, well, Jennifer said, well, I was talking to Jennifer. So here are a couple ways that you can stay out of the midst of someone else's mess, not be suckered by the smoke screens, and stay focused on what it is that you need to do. One goes back to my example. Don't feel obligated to share everything with everyone, or even to participate in conversations that involve you even. Some things are better left unsaid. I know. It took me a little while to figure this one out and be able to apply it. Remember, we're all works in progress. It took me a long time to realize that everything is not worth me defending myself or trying to explain. The fact of the matter is that people that are lost in the smoke, they lost. And some of them enjoy the smoke screen. Some of them enjoy being, in the midst of the chaos. I am not that person. I have never enjoyed confusion because God is not the author of confusion. I am a straightforward, forthright individual by nature, by character. That's just who I am. And I get no fulfillment out of confusion and chaos. So I've learned a long time ago that you can't share everything with everyone. In fact, I have frustrated a mini reporter, well-intentioned co-worker, family member, friend, because I don't always share everything all the time. Now, what I will do is, if it's a situation that directly involves me, I will speak with or communicate with the individual or individuals who are directly impacted in the situation with me. Another tip is to use the love method. So I was looking at Will Smith on the Red Table, on Jada Pinkett Smith's Red Table series. And I just want to first say that I have mad respect for individuals who continue to be transparent and tell their truth in the face of, judgment, criticism, and, just folly. I understand that celebrities, we believe that celebrities put themselves in a position to be, analyzed and to be, critiqued and to be judged. but they're human just like we are. And I don't agree with that. And it's probably because I'm the same person who has lived in a fishbowl. Granted, my fishbowl is not as big or vast or as, luxurious as theirs. But nevertheless, when you're in the public in one shape, form, or fashion, people feel overly familiar. And in that, they feel like they can say or do anything. Like, nothing is off, not, they hold nothing back, as if they own you and they have the right to be able to tear you apart bit by bit, piece by piece, and examine you under a magnifying glass for the world or community or whatever to see and even give their own input on. So Will was talking about, something personal. And if you watch Red Table Talk, you probably have already seen it. So I'm not going to get into it. But basically, he talked about something that he's employed to be able to understand other people. And I thought, that is it. Like, it just kind of resonated in my spirit. It stuck. And he talked about using a love method. So love is to listen with understanding and validate where it's true. And I thought, that's excellent. That's an excellent, precise way to put it in an acronym that everyone can always remember if you're trying to apply it. Listen with understanding and validate what's true. And so I think about a lot of times some of my personal disagreements, like with my mom or my daughter or what have you. And, you're listening, but sometimes you're listening. I talked about the noise in communication as well. You're listening so that you can be like, and so you can defend yourself. And what I thought was extraordinary about Will and what he shared was the fact that he never defended himself. And part of me was like, wait, hold on. You need to be saying something. But I understand now. You listen for understanding and you validate what's true. And in my political life, I do that more than I do in my personal life because, I'm more of an objective thinker. I'm not as emotionally connected to what my residents think. Because for 11 years, I've been trying to get my residents engaged in the process. Agree with me, don't agree with me, but be engaged. And so part of it is that I am listening for understanding. And I'm also like, okay, y'all been paying attention. You know what's going on out here. Like, part of me is like, a proud mama. Like, I'm super excited. And even if you're coming after me with it, then I validate the truth. And one thing about me is I always provide my residents with data. I always give them the receipts. If I'm talking about something, I give them exactly what I'm talking about so they can see it with their own eyes. And we've talked about before removing emotion, and I've talked about it earlier. So I just tried to take all the emotion out so that I could objectively review the information, review the data, review the evidence, review any former cases, to review the, all of the information so that I can make a sound decision. So removing the emotion will help you to, identify the smoke screen, cut through it, and stay focused on the task at hand. Another thing is to just do your job or the task that you have been assigned. If you continue to stay the course and stay focused on the task at hand or the job that you have to do and your responsibilities associated with it, then you won't get caught up in following the rabbit hole. And because I am data driven, there have been times where I continue, I see a crumb and I keep on following. I'm down, way down the rabbit hole. And it's not been productive because I got distracted. Because the rabbit hole was nothing more than a smokescreen to divert me from what I was supposed to be doing. Stay the course. Do the job that you have been assigned to do to the best of your ability with the information that you have at your disposal, and stay focused on that. The last tip that I'll leave you with is don't feed into the hype. Don't give energy to the smoke screen, because in giving energy to the smoke screen, you inadvertently validate it. You make people think, oh, well, maybe there's something to this because, she's so focused on it. She keeps talking about it and she keeps refuting it. And you have to, what is the saying? Where your focus goes, your energy goes, or your energy goes where your focus goes. And we're talking about not being distracted. We're talking about staying focused, staying the course, doing your job, executing the mission, whatever the situation is. And you cannot do that and give energy to the chaos. Anything that you give energy to grows. You don't want to amplify the chaos. Remember, your job is not to be like, hey, look, there's a smoke screen. Your job is to stay the course so that other people can identify that, that don't look right or sound right. So those are the tips for today. Don't be suckered by the smoke screen. Stay focused. Hope you guys have a great week.